And welcome back, everyone, to Box Office Report today on the 25th of August, 2024. So I didn't get the box office right this week at all, but Deadpool and Wolverine comes in clutch, getting the #1 spot again, retaking it for another week, making $18.3 million. I gotta say, when I saw Friday's numbers of only $4 million, I didn't think it'd be $18 million, but holy crap. Alien Romulus took a pretty big drop, $61.4 million for $16.2 million #2 spot, but still a solid #2. It ends with us, and they're $11.8 million. And then two newcomers, Blink Twice, the new Channing Tatum film. I believe it's directed by Zoe Kravitz, if I remember correctly, and because they're in a relationship. And The Forge, which is the new pure flicksy type film, which I have no desire to see. Debut. Now, let me actually get Box Office Mojo. Rotten Tomatoes up here real quick. Let's see where all our newcomers kind of rank in terms of what they come in terms of critical reception. So obviously 70. Deadpool and Wolverine, we already know that. Alien Romulus is 80. Blink Twice, 78% for Blink Twice. Not bad, not bad. The Crow, 20%. Woof. And we have The Forge. The Forge is not rated. That's interesting. Now, let me just see Blink Twice real quick here. I don't know. I know what the Crow's budget is. Blink. There we go. Blink Twice. I was kind of interested in it, but it was kind of an off week for me. Budget only $20 million. Okay, only $20 million and barely had marketing, so it's got a chance to make its money back. Let's actually look into this, though, because I've literally not looked at anything yet today. Deadpool and Wolverine making their $18.3 million. It stands at $1.211 billion. $1.211 billion. Look, it's safe to say it will not be the all-time highest-grossing film of the year. We all thought it would, and then obviously Inside Out came and just said, "Hold my beer." But still, look, we cannot devalue just how big of a win this is. And where does this make this as an all-time film? Hold on, I'm looking right now. It makes it the 27th highest-grossing film, and it's going to be climbing a couple more spots, definitely. I think it's safe to say it could end up at the 1.3 billion range, but that would be it. I don't see it cracking the top 20. That I don't think is likely. I don't think it has another 100 and what would that be? $23 million in it. I'm not sure it has that in there, but we cannot overlook how big of an achievement this is for this movie, for Disney. Disney, as the phrase was kind of put, as for Disney, news of my demise has been greatly exaggerated. They had the two highest grossing films of the year, and it's not even close right now. But yeah, look, it's an R-rated film, so it's crossed the highest R-rated film record. It did that last week, easily. Like that, it's the highest grossing R-rated film, second R-rated film ever to get to $1 billion plus. It is the highest grossing film of Ryan Reynolds' career, highest grossing film of Hugh Jackman's career. And honestly, I think the highest grossing film of just about everyone in that film's career, now that I think about it. But if we're talking about the main cast, it gives us hope, at least it gives us a revitalized sensation for the Marvel franchise, I think. Now, granted, it is even though it is in the MCU, it's kind of separated at the same time due to the TVA shenanigans. But it's still very much a comic book movie that the majority of people went out and loved or enjoyed minimum. And it gives us a level of hope for the MCU again. And now we can only hope that Captain America Brave New World is able to capitalize on that. And now that they're back, they're downscaling like how much they're putting out each year, all that. We'll have to see where it all ultimately plays out. But it's a good sign. And it shows that, again, there's no such thing as comic book fatigue. There are people who are tired of comic book movies. But there's no fatigue of comic book movies, just like there was no fatigue of westerns or horrors or anything like that. It's just mediocre movie fatigue. That's what it is. We got from a company that was just throwing out bangers and bangers and bangers and bangers, a string of intermittent successes. And mostly it was actually on the Disney Plus side. It really wasn't even on the movie side of things when you really break it down. Black Widow was overall well received, and it just had the misfortune of a day-and-date release in pandemic. Shang-Chi was beloved. Eternals was the first one that was kind of So you can count that one. But then you get Spider-Man Far No Way Home, which was nearly $2 billion. So that's like, okay. Doctor Strange, which was a little mixed, but still generally very well received by critics and fans, and made nearly $1 billion. Then you got Thor: Love and Thunder, which still made $750+ million, but that was another one that I can agree was mixed. I liked the film, but I recognize problems with it. Then you got Black Panther, which was generally well received. It was. It was a solid movie. It was nowhere near as good as the original, but it was an uphill battle. And then you had Quantumania, which a lot of people didn't like. And I don't know if that movie lost money. I think it just barely broke even or barely made money, but still, it was not what they were hoping for. Then you had Guardians, which was fantastic, and most people loved it. And then you had the Marvels, which, I like the Marvels, but that is the first big loss Disney has taken in a while when it came to the Marvel Universe. So it was mostly success, or at least adequacy. But it was clearly a step down from the banger after banger after banger that Marvel was doing. And then you had the Disney Plus stuff, which the first three, WandaVision, Loki, and Miss Marvel, Falcon and Winter Soldier, they were pretty well received. Then you got to Hawkeye, which, from what I understand, was all right received, but it was very... Moon Knight, I liked, but... Miss Marvel was very well received, and actually one of the best things they did, but it's didn't have the best viewing numbers. Then She-Hulk came around, then Secret Invasion. It's just, instead of having, the chinks in the armor have been seen. So for them to come out and make this movie and have it be as successful as it is, and still will be, it's still making money. That's a big feather in the cap for them. Speaking of which, Alien Romulus, $16.2 million. That took a bigger drop this weekend than I thought it would be. I thought, honestly, it'd be more along the lines of, say, like a 50-ish%. So 62 is a little high, but $225 million worldwide right now. Its budget's $80 million. It probably only has about 50 in marketing. So, really, this film's now profitable. This film's good. Now they're just raking in the extra money. And I like the fact, too, when you see the distributor, it does straight out say Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. Disney is not hiding the fact that they're behind this film. Look, Disney is supposed to still be the family-friendly company, and when you go to the parks and stuff like that, it will be. Don't get me wrong, I'm certain we might see like an alien ride at Disney or something like that. That would be kind of fun. Or like a haunted house thing. I know they were doing that. Maybe they were doing that in the parks, because I remember seeing a video where people were like having face huggers on their face in public, and then chest bursters. That was kind of fun. But it's also Disney finally starting to embrace the more mature side of what their IPs are, because they have these IPs. They have Predator, Alien, a couple other R-rated franchises. They have tried to embrace both, try to find the balance. And right now, they have Inside Out 2, but they also have Deadpool, and now they have Aliens, which is now a success. So it feels like they're really starting to find a balance. Now, granted, it's just the first year of them doing this, but this is a good sign for Disney, at least in terms of their product, in terms of like the maturity that we can see from them, then along with the immaturity. Now, the perfect balance of which, perfectly balanced, as all things should be, as Thanos would put it. But this is a good sign. This is a good sign for Disney. And between $2 billion plus films, Alien Romulus, Kingdom, they're probably going to be they might be the most profitable studio of the year this year. In fact, I don't think there's really much argument against that. But we'll find out. Anyway, it ends with us talking about studios making a good profit, $11.8 million. $242 million against a $25 million budget. Even if I highball the marketing at, say, $30 million, which is probably more like it's 25, I've only saw the trailer like once. This film made its money back at opening day still. It made $80 million worldwide opening day. Now you're talking about a film we're talking about profit. If you take the third out, what this film is technically already made, that would put it at, let's say, a third, 60. This film's made over $100 million profit. That's insane. And it goes to show the niche of these types of stories and these IPs that get adapted. I think that it's very telling that a couple like your 50 Shades, your Twilights, It Ends With Us, that these stories can be adapted and still do really well, not just as book series, but as movies as well. And in fact, these movies tend to make far more than these books ever did. So it's not, don't get me wrong, it doesn't always work. We've seen movies that are based off books come and not do well. What was that? That one that came out last year, actually. I can't remember, where the Crawdads sing or something like that. That didn't really do that well. But this one's clearly just raking in profit. It is now raking in profit. Sony's got to be happy about that, absolutely. Every studio is actually having some success this year. That's great. Even Paramount with their dumbass stuff. And I don't mean dumbass stuff in their products. I mean their dumbass business strategies. Blink Twice debuts at 7.3 million. Worldwide, it's 14.0 million. Given the fact I barely saw any marketing for this, I'd be willing to bet that it's probably 20 million at most. Against a $20 million budget, that means you're looking at a film that has to hit about 60 million. Don't think that's going to happen, but with solid reviews, and honestly, 7.3 is probably more than I thought it was going to make. Let's see what happens. I guess the question is, why did no one go out to see it? Well, it was barely marketed. I think that's your answer right there. When it comes to these films like The Forge, another one where it's barely marketed, but still managed to make it to the number 5 spot, figure that out. With films like this, it's they have their audiences. They have their niche audiences. Now, Grant, I said this is a Pureflix-esque film, but it's not a Pureflix film. I would see Pureflix right there for the distributor. They are their own company. But it is very much in the faith-based adjacent subject matter type of movie where I don't give a rat's ass about it because someone once asked me in a Q&A why I hate faith-based films. And I need to be very clear. I do not hate faith-based films. Hacksaw Ridge is a faith-based. When you really look at it, faith is a crucial part of that character's identity. And I love that film. Absolutely. There are other films where faith is a main part of the film, and I don't have a problem with it. My problem comes when when these unrealistic, that's what it is, these unrealistic portrayals of faith happen, where a mother struggling with her son goes to seek help from her friends, and I just need some prayer. Like, now, look, I know people do that, but the fact that that's your go-to, instead of asking for actual help, you say, "Oh, I'm going to pray," in a way. That's why something like War Room is so stupid to me and kind of insulting to a lot of people who were actually good Christians or. And I'm like, I'm insulted for you, but I kind of am, because like, even people who practice their faith and will pray for good things to happen aren't relying solely on that. If you think your husband's having an affair, don't go to Jesus to pray the sin away. Confront him. Talk to him. That's like why War Room pisses me off. God, and these films also tend to vilify the people who don't believe in the same faith. God's Not Dead. It's an example of that. Apparently there's another one coming out this year. I only found that out because of the Q&A where someone brought it up. Yeah, like the God's Not Dead pisses me off so much because he's an atheist, he's an asshole. That's it. Like, he's an asshole because he doesn't believe in God. Like, what the fuck is wrong? No, there are plenty of, yes. Do atheists tend to be do atheists tend to be assholes sometimes? Absolutely. If you want proof of that, Jim Jeffries is a bit of an asshole. If you're talking about comedians, Ricky Gervais is a bit of an asshole. But there's a good person underneath there. We do know that. But these guys are just like, again, instead of having a movie where it's actually philosophically debating the concept of God and if he exists or not or whatever, you just have these people like, God's dead, your faith sucks, whatever. Like that, I have better things to do with my life than that. So that's why I've said it before, but anytime these things come up, I will repeat my stance. This is why ideas like this, movies like this, bother me so much. Granted, though, it's probably made on chump change, so it's very possible this film made its money back. But here's the thing. I saw the trailer for The Forge more than I ever saw the trailer for It Ends With Us or Blink Twice, so I have no idea. Twisters, the little film that just keeps on going. $347 million. Now, look, I've said it before and I've said it again. I don't know what the actual budget is on this, whether it's 200 in total with marketing or 200 before marketing. But I can say, you want to talk about a little engine that could, a little film that could, it just keeps on moving. It's clearly had an audience. It was clearly able to reap in quite a bit of profit. Well, quite a bit of money. It's one of those few films where the domestic really outweighs the international. Unfortunately, because of that, it's now solely just making its money domestically. And if it is, in fact, the domestic, if it is, in fact, 200 before marketing, this film did not make its money back. Now, to be fair, 200 for your overall budget is insane for a film. Like, you could not have assumed that the film was going to make its money back on $200 million for a budget. You just can't make that assumption. That's why I like to believe that it's actually 200 total, because if that's the case, then this film did actually end up making money. Speaking of another little film just coming out of nowhere, Coraline. Coraline's still going. It's 15th anniversary, making like $30 million worldwide right now. I'm actually very impressed by that. Legit. And like in Coraline in re-release, no joke. Look at this for a second. Look at this. Hold on. It made $9 million on its. It dropped less than 50%. It made $14 million domestically alone between its weekends. Now, the way if you're not familiar, the way these re-releases work is the Coraline. I'm gonna sing a song about Coraline. The way these re-releases work is, even if you look up for like the year, you're only going to see the amount the re-release made. However, if you go to the actual overall movie, that gets added to its overall total. So right now, worldwide, Coraline has actually made, in its entire run, $169.9, so $62 million, because it will make a little bit more than that. It's definitely going to make over that. So, hats off, because I think, because the budget is marketing budget probably wasn't that big, because they didn't do big marketing budgets back then, at least for something like Coraline. That means the film probably has made its money back in the long run. They played the long game, baby. So good on Coraline. Okay. All right. The review of the week, everyone. The Crow made $4.6 million domestically. Now, do you have anything to say internationally? No, you don't right now. Look, Borderlands. Let me actually get the Borderlands real quick here so I can use this as a comparison. Where are you? Borderlands, in 3 weeks, has only made $24.2 million. And it made more on its opening weekend. And it is way more terribly rated. It's got like a 10% versus this 20. Crow's got double the amount that Borderlands has for its Rotten Tomatoes rating. What went wrong? That's what we always have to ask the question. What went wrong? Because I had heard it was tracking for like anywhere between a 10 and 15 million dollar opening weekend, which would not have been good against a $50 million budget. But it's not 4.6 bad. So what went wrong? One, I don't think they marketed this film very well. Two, the reviews came out. And the reviews came out and they hid the reviews. They hid the reviews. A full day. Day of. They hid the reviews. Obviously, the movie's also not very good. Me and my girlfriend liked it, but we acknowledged there was a lot of problems with that. So, you get a film that no one was really asking for and wasn't even that well marketed. that wasn't that good, and you hid the reviews from people. Yeah, the Crow, man. The Crow did not do well. The only two things that it actually has going for it in this scenario here are as such. One, by Hollywood standards, a $15 million budget is very low. My guess is you're looking at between 20 and 30 million in marketing. Let's just round up to 30. So you're looking at 80 million. In a hypothetical, this film needs to make 120 to break even, roughly. The only other thing that, in theory, could save it is a massive international appeal. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think any of us think that's going to happen. But those are your two saving graces, is that it is not made on a huge budget. And it's still got international numbers that could come in and at least soften the blow. But wow. Wow. Hoofa. Now let's talk about something that is doing well. Despicable Me 4 made another $4.4 million this week. $885 million. I think it's going to cross 900. I got to find out what the original Despicable Me's was again. What was the original Despicable Me? Despicable Me. What was, not the original, it was Despicable Me 2 made 900 something. So, okay, 970. It was shy of $1 billion. It's not going to be able to catch the second film. But here's the thing. The only other one the franchise this film has beaten is the original. And that's only because it's the original. It's the first one. Despicable Me 4 has been built on a franchise. And therefore people now know these characters and like these characters. That's why it got a lot more of appeal. Plus, we had an entire summer of people taking their families, their kids, to Despicable Me. So, a lot of repeat viewing. Look, even if it's the second lowest ranked grossing film of the franchise on $100 million, this film made bank. This film made bank. Between Kung Fu Panda and Despicable Me 4 alone, Universal's having a solid year. A solid year. Mind you, they also had to deal, I believe, with the fallout, pun intended, of Fall Guy, which didn't do so well. But I think it's forgivable. I think they can suffer the loss. Speaking of which, now let's see where Inside Out 2 is this week. And okay. $1.649 billion. $1,649 million. It's in spitting distance. I gotta get the all-time back up here. It's literally in swinging distance of actually breaking more records. This is insane. I honestly wasn't sure, but look, it's the number 10th highest grossing film of all time. It's only 14 million away, give or take an extra million. So 15. It's only 15 million away. And there might be it might have one last little of international money left in it. There's a legit chance here it could get the number 8 spot. In total, if you add the extra 8 on there, in total, it's only 15, 23 million away total from the number 8 spot. 20, let's say 24. 24. That is actually still feasible. This is insane. Okay, look, let's actually go down the list here real quick. First off, I actually think most of us felt comfortable that it was going to hit $1 billion. The first one made 800 and some odd million. In fact, I can find out where it is right here. It made 859 million. 141. That was an easy number it was very likely it was going to hit $1 billion. So no one was surprised about that. Crossed 1.21 and 1.2. None of us were really surprised about that. Then it kept going. And I'm like, wow, it crossed Frozen. Wow. Oh, holy crap. And then it crossed Barbie and Avengers and Frozen 2. I'm like, whoa. Then it crossed Avengers. I'm like, wait, hold the hell. Wait, what the hell? And then it crossed 1.6. I'm like, okay, it's got to stop at some point. It's gonna run out of steam at some point, right? There's no way it catches The Lion King or Jurassic World, right? We're in arm's length, people. We're literally in striking distance. Now, I say all this, but I don't want anyone who's getting excited right now, which is probably maybe one of you. I don't want to get your hopes too high. Which week are we in now? I don't want day, I want week. Hold on. We're in its 11th week, and it's now on digital. And it's only made about $2 million this week. It's only going to make maybe $1 million-esque next week. So I don't want you to get your hopes too high here, folks. But you would be silly not to believe it couldn't do it. You'd be silly to think it could not do it. It's entirely possible. It really is. It's kind of insane the run this film has had. Like, this is the kind of things film history buffs would talk about later on in life. Like, what led to the success of the, let's just say it does make the 8th highest grossing film of all time, Inside Out 2, or the highest grossing animated film of all time. Look, I actually don't care so much about the 8th highest spot as I do the 9th spot, because that means if it crosses The Lion King, it is the highest grossing animated film of all time. Because that Lion King film is animated. It is all CGI. There's only one shot that's not, and it's the sun rising. That's it. Otherwise, it's all animated. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see if it can do it or not. Let me put it this way. If it had hit this number last week, then I would say yes. It's a lock. It's going to at least get the 9th spot. The problem is we're not in last week. We're in this week. And this week, and every week that goes by that doesn't hit it makes it less and less likely. It's still got 15 million to hit the number 9 and 24 million to hit the number 8. That doesn't seem like a lot, and by all accounts it shouldn't be, but we're now at the point where it's not only not making $1 million each weekday, it's not even making $500,000 each weekday. So it's gonna be, if it's gonna make it, it's gonna be a fight. Next weekend, because first off, we have nothing that challenges this coming out next weekend, which is good. Next weekend, I think, will be the final nail in the coffin of where this film ultimately lies. Will it be the 9th? Will it be the 8th? Or will it stay at the 10th spot? If you're going to ask me right now, I think it's at least going to catch the 9th. I think it will actually at least catch the 9th. But if next week comes and I see that this film is actually at, say, $1,661,000,000, I'm going to say, let me put it this way, actually. If it crosses the finish line and is the higher of the two films, if it's the number 9 spot next week, then I actually would feel comfortable saying it will catch number 8. If it's not number 9 next week and it's still like a couple million behind, then I'm going to feel confident in saying it will not catch the number 8 spot. So that's my thoughts on that. Trap made 1.7 million. Again, a little film, talking about little films that keep trudging along, it keeps trudging along, despite not getting the best reviews. It keeps trudging along. And I respect it. I respect that. Borderlands, as we just said, made $24.2 million worldwide. Now, I also said that Borderlands, despite having a lower number of positive critic reviews, despite that, it still has made more money than The Crow. It may even make more money total than The Crow. The problem is that The Crow will end up losing less money by a lot. And do you want to know why, folks? Because The Crow, as I said, is only made on $50 million. Probably only made on about $80 million total, roughly. That means that's about a $70 million-ish loss this film has taken so far. Not good. Borderlands is made on $120 million, with $50 million in marketing, so for a total of $150 million. By big blockbuster Hollywood standards, chump change these days. Chump change. But that means this film, when you take the third out, is made only about $16 million right now. And that means it lost $130 some odd million. So despite the fact that, yes, Borderlands has technically made more, it is a far bigger loss in the whole for Lionsgate. Lionsgate had 2 back-to-back bombs this year. Oof, not good. Everything else is kind of not so great. I mean, Harold and the Purple Crayon had a much smaller deficit than either of them did. Longlegs. Longlegs actually did end up crossing 100 million. Good for Longlegs. There's not much else to really go over. Like, everything else is pretty minor or done. But yeah, it's still not a bad weekend at the box office. The first weekend in a while that has not had 100 million at the box office. Because last weekend, if we let's see here. If we go back to last weekend real quick. Yeah, this was last weekend. That was still 100 million at the box office. Easy. So that means this is the first weekend we've had since, I want to say. That's actually a good question. Let's actually go back a little bit. How long have we been having 100 plus million at the box office? We had that weekend definitely. The following weekend, so that's 3 weeks. Another weekend, so definitely. And then, nope, we had that with Twisters. And then Spickle Me. Well, hold on, man. This might have been it. Maybe this was it. That's 30. Nope, this was another weekend, so that was week 6. Week 7. Week 9. Week 10. Week 11. Bad Boys Ride. Okay, it was Bad Boys Ride or Die the week that we didn't have. Okay, that's what, 66, 73, 80, 85, 9, can round that up to 90. No, if you really break it down, if you look at that total, that's still 100 plus. So you go back even further. Okay, we had to go back literally 3 months. Literally 3 months. Whoops, 1 month. Domestic weekend. I want weekend charts. Thank you. Let's go back a little bit here. Here we go. We had to go back literally 3 months to a weekend where we did not have 100 million at the box office. That shows you how good a year we've been having. But now we have a year where it's not a weekend where it's not 100 million at the box office. Still not a bad weekend at the box office, by the way. I say all that like it's a bad thing, but we really didn't have a bad weekend at the box. Let's see, 46, 53. We had almost 7. We actually not even beyond a $70 million weekend right now. Yeah, we have 46, 73. And that was about 60, 63, 70. Almost 80 million at the box office. So we still had a very good weekend at the box office this week. So the question is, well, what do we have? Ooh, let's get over to this button right here. What do we have coming out this week? Whisper of the Heart, The Cat Returns. I don't think are going to do much, but I've been wrong before. We have NY release, Out Come the Wolves. No, that's not it. Sorry, 1992. What is 1992? A shoekeeper must save his son from an angry mob during 1992 LA uprising after Rodney King verdict. Probably is not going to be doing much. When they say wide, they do not necessarily mean like thousands of screens. They mean like maybe a couple hundred. Or at least like predominant theaters. City of Dreams, inspired true story, chronicles the journey of a Mexican boy whose dreams becoming a soccer star are shattered when he's smuggled across the border and sold to a sweatshop. I'm sure it'll be a lovely film, but it's not going to be a big wide release here. Two big ones I think are going to be Reagan and Afraid. See, Afraid is the new Blumhouse one, and it's dealing with like an AI that may actually be like aliens or something like that. That's one I'm probably going to be at this week. But I don't know if there's enough interest in it to be number 1, to be frank. Like, I don't know if there's enough interest in either Reagan or Afraid. I'm going to be honest, like straight out honest. We might get Deadpool and Wolverine number 1 again. Dropping, like, still making like 10 some odd million next weekend. We might. I'm going to go with my gut on this. I'm actually going to say it's still going to be Deadpool and Wolverine. Then I will go with Afraid. I think it will be number 2. I think then we're looking at, what did both these drop this week? So 50, so we're going to look at probably like 50 or low 40s next week for It Ends With Us. So we're looking at 5.5-ish, maybe 6. I think Romulus would be number 3. I do think, because I think it won't take as big a drop next week as it did this week. So again, Deadpool Wolverine, Afraid, Alien Romulus. I will then go with It Ends With Us, and then I'll go with Reagan. This is simply due to the fact that I don't know how many people are interested in the Reagan movie. Not, by the way, Dennis Quaid doing a pretty good Reagan impression in there. So I don't, you know what? As much as Dennis Quaid is kind of got his own viewpoints that maybe I don't quite agree with all the time, I like him as an actor. So yeah, I've always liked Dennis Quaid as an actor, really. So it's one of those things where I can separate the artist from the art. So there you go. Same with, as weird as to say, same with Kevin Spacey, because first off, he got off on those charges. So that being said, I've still heard his nature's been very predatory and stuff like that. So still probably not a great human being, but I can still enjoy his work. I love Baby Driver. I gotta add that to the watch list. Me, my girlfriend and my dad do a watch night on every Wednesday, and it's every off week is just a random movie, but every other week it's like, we're theme right now. We're going through the DCEU. But another person I can do that with is I just blanked. Russell Crowe. I can do it with Russell Crowe. He's a bit of a jerk. Mel Gibson. That's another one I can do it with. I can separate the art from the artist with Mel Gibson. I can do that. But regardless, what did you think of the weekend? I went long in this video, but I kind of went on that rant a little bit for The Forge and why I don't like it. And I went off a little bit on Inside Out 2 because it's just insane what that film's doing. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.